This week at Queen's, there were a series of events held for Women's Worth Week to raise awareness about violence against women and self-esteem issues that women face. The goal of the project was to create a free and open space where people could talk about the boundaries and hurdles still facing women in a university setting and beyond. What are the best ways for women and men to band together to create positive change for gender in their community? And what is this campaign really all about? The Private Eye investigates. Queen's TV set out to attend the events being put on by Women's Worth Week and talk to some of the event speakers and volunteers to learn about what students can and should be doing to stand up for women and their rights within the community. First, we spoke to Kate McCord, who organized the week's events and brought the White Ribbon Campaign to Queen's for the first time to get a better understanding of the messages the organization wishes to deliver on gender issues.
The White Ribbon Campaign was started in Canada in 1991 in response to the tragedies at Lake Hull Polytechnic. And the idea behind the campaign is to involve men in promoting gender equality, and it focuses on getting men to pledge to never commit, condone, or remain silent about violence against women, and that extends to sexual harassment and sexism, so all forms of violence. Well, I guess some things you could say if you're being verbally marginalized, like I think the best thing to do is to ask people why they're saying what they're saying. Because a lot of the times I find the word rape is thrown around really out of context. And if you say to someone why did you say that? Why would you say that? Then it puts it back to them and it makes them think about it. And I think that's probably the best way to do that, because you're not attacking them. You're not saying you shouldn't say that. You're asking them why. And I think once they think about it, but I think it's also the word feminist has become a very negative word. Some people think that just means a woman who doesn't want you to pay for her dinner, doesn't want you to get the door for her. But it's not necessarily that. It's about equality, and feminists, it's not, about men bashing. And I think that's the biggest thing that you can enforce. I don't think all men are bad. I know a lot of guys who are phenomenal people, and they're very kind, loving, respectful people. But I think it's about equality for everyone. And I think you have to take back that word and, make sure you really know what it does mean.
Next, we spoke to Jeff Perera, a rep from the White Ribbon Campaign from Ryerson, to see why it is so important to encourage men to think more critically about the way they treat women, the self-esteem issues facing women, and why women must celebrate themselves as unique and important members of the community. Strategies on how to allow women to stand up for themselves and mediate issues of violence were also covered.
So the White Ribbon Campaign is the world's largest effort to engage men in ending violence against women. We're in over 60 countries worldwide, and the goal of the campaign is to engage men to never commit, condone, and remain silent on violence against women. And really it's a way for us to get men talking about how the ideas of how we create gender and ideas of what a man is or isn't and what a woman is or isn't, how that not only affects women in their everyday life, but how it affects men as well. How it affects us and the pressures that society places on us to act a certain way, for example, not show emotion, to be hard and tough, how that affects a person embracing their full humanity. So we look at how that impacts men on a daily basis and the women in our lives and men and women in society as a whole. So in looking at how we can engage this work in the post-secondary spaces, in universities, obviously there's people coming from different cities, different countries, parts of the world coming together to learn, study, and work, and live together really, and to learn how to do that respectfully, and doing that where it's recognizing that a gender equitable space gives everyone a chance to just be the best that they can be, and creating the freedom to be who we are as a man or a woman, to just embrace our full humanity is really important to create a great environment. I think it's important to recognize that great, strong movements start on individual levels, and I think the most powerful impact is the everyday scenarios and conversations. I mean, you don't have to go to the extent like me going from place to place and giving lectures and talks and running events. Just everyday conversations at a house party, in the classroom, a conversation between a TA and students. There's so many examples of scenarios where people can kind of just shift language, shift the dialogue, and that makes a profound impact. Whether it's just saying, why are you calling her the B word, or not laughing at a sexist joke, even just slightly rolling your eyes. There's a fear and a pressure on men to kind of fit in and be one of the boys, but you recognize that if there's a space of 5 men and one guy tells a sexist joke, the other 4 probably don't think it's funny, but they might laugh because they don't want to seem like they're not cool, or they don't want to get in trouble or get outed or marginalized. But if someone steps up and says, hey, that was kind of dumb, or what's wrong with you? You know, other people will kind of go, oh, okay, if he said it, then it's okay to kind of say it's not cool, and then agree. So I think it's working together in those levels. And someone like Kate McCord, who's just trying to get these conversations going, I think that's really powerful. Just in every way, we can all do something. And I think that's the biggest thing people should take away from efforts like Women's Worth Week, to recognize that people can make a difference in their everyday lives, which is the strongest impact, really, quite honestly, to make change happen.
Finally, we learned that such a group or team atmosphere that was provided by these events was extremely positive. Being part of a team allows a person to accomplish a common goal, make new friends, and learn. It also empowers people by allowing them to recognize their ability to generate change. The organizers of this project hope that by bringing women together to voice their opinions on issues relevant to them, that people will feel empowered, and their concerns on this topic will be addressed. In order to reach a bigger audience and target all sorts of people, on the last day of the campaign, speakers were organized outside the JDUC to make public their feelings about how positive speech creates positive change. We're here with Genevieve, and she is one of the exec with the Women's Worth Week at Queen's, and she's just going to tell us a little bit about what's going on this week and what we have going on with the White Ribbon campaign here at Queen's.
So Women's Worth Week is something that was headed up by Kate McCord, who's a third-year student here, and it really focuses on violence against women and self-esteem issues that women face, and just raising awareness about their prevalence here on campus. So we've done that through speakers that we've had this week, and we have a film night tonight. And right now we're having an outreach event on the corner of University and Union just to bring our messages out to people. We have a bunch of activities that they can take part in here, like free hot chocolate, or our Distinctly Beautiful campaign, where they write something distinctly beautiful about themselves and have their picture taken with it. So just trying to really emphasize that inner beauty and self-esteem issues and why that kind of thing happens.
Women's Worth Week was a huge success. It allowed students to talk, support, and reach out to one another. The events that took place not only validate the prevalence of such gender issues, but also emphasize how they can be overcome through talking about them when a frank and positive space is created for people to do so. This has been Lauren Gibson reporting for The Private Eye.